Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? Welcome to episode 83. Ooh, what is that? I don't know where that's come from. Episode 83 of the Snowflake Viewpoint. The date and time of this is the 23rd of December 2024. We cover UK politics. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/ReganElite and on twitch.tv/ReganElite1. How are you guys all doing in chat? Hope you're all doing well. Today I've only got 5 stories for you guys, but we're going to have a bit of fun. And after we've covered the stories, guys, I'm going to play some funny videos for you guys, you know, to see ourselves out rather than just indulge ourselves with news and politics. But like I said, there is a special premiere video dropping at 8 o'clock on Christmas Day. So if you've got no plans Christmas Day, do hang out. Do feel free to hang out there, guys. It's a really good video. Like I said, I've got lots of funny videos and funny and good news stories on that dropping on Christmas Day at 8 p.m. premiering. So if you guys want to hang out for a bit together, you are more than welcome to do so as well. Who have we got here? Oh, where's my... Hold on a second. Is this not updated? Oh, this is... Why is this being slow? Great. Now I can't even show me the chat. For some reason, it's been really, really slow. That's not a good sign. Have I already lost internet? That's not a good sign. My internet is super slow. Why is my internet super slow? That's not a good start. You have to bear me 1 second, guys. It's being really, really slow right now. Sorry, 1 second, guys. I was trying to get one of my super chat goals up, but it's reset itself, which is really, really annoying. So you have to bear me 1 moment, guys. Sorry, apologies. Oh my god, come on. Are you gonna work? Hey, it works. The problem is it doesn't. You can't set these goals when you're not live stream. When you've not set up for live stream. So annoying. Right, now that's finally fixed. Right, who have we got in the chat? Liveskin, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Stephen Banker, Martin Brisk, good to see you guys all. How you doing? Jow, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Mad Monk, good to see you as well. And Billy Kershaw. This screen, my second monitor. The screen is very, very slow, so I don't know what's going on there. That's very, very annoying. Hopefully, I will not have that problem. I'll just have to pay attention. Well, I'll just have to use. Well, I've got the chat on my phone anyway. So, right. Let's get started. Hopefully, let's get the news out of the way, and then we'll have a bit of fun, guys. We'll have a bit of fun. So the first story I've got for you guys is from The Guardian. This one, it's an exclusive for them, but to be fair, it's like, well, we kind of know this already. So it's been revealed that Thames Water diverted cash for cleanups to help pay for bonuses. So the UK's biggest water company assessed their risks before cutting back on the cost of environmental work, investigation shows. I mean, is this really a shock? Like, to be fair, like I've already kicked and screamed about this in a video that's going to be dropping later this week anyway. But it's just like, I'm not surprised, and no one is surprised by this story whatsoever. That it's just further confirmation of just how little care they have about their customers, and it's just once again reinforces the message that we need to nationalize our water companies. It just reinforces it once again. I really, really hope that nobody has any water issues during the Christmas period. I really, you know, we already had, well, from today onwards, I hope, because they really don't give a toss about your water. They really don't. They just want to take all your money and run away with it. And that's what it's always been. That's what it's always been there. Good morning, Steve McMorgan. Hope you're doing well as well. Yeah. So Thames Water's intentionally diverted millions of pounds pledged for environmental cleanups towards other costs, including bonus and dividends, The Guardian can reveal. So the company, which serves more than 16 million customers, cut the funds after senior managers assessed the potential risk of such a move. Well, it doesn't matter what the managers say. If the owners say, yeah, cut the costs, I want our bonus and whatnot, then that's what they're going to do. They don't care about. Doesn't matter what customers think or what senior manager think. If there's any risk that they're not going to get their bonuses, they'll cut costs. They'll cut losses somewhere. Discussions held in secret considered the risk of a public and regulatory backlash if it emerged that cash was set aside for work, such as cutting river pollution, had been spent elsewhere. This could have been seen as a breach of the company's license commitments and leave it vulnerable to accusations it had broken the law, according to sources and materials seen by The Guardian. Thames Water continues to pay staff bonuses worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. It also pays tens of millions in dividends as recently as March this year, while cutting back on its spending promises. The company did so despite public claims from its leaders that improvements to its environmental performance, including on pollution, were a priority. This couldn't be more full of crap if you ask it. It's just absolute nonsense. Cut the crap! So true. Sources had told The Guardian that internal deliberations about cutting back on the environment works occurred as early as the end of 2021 and throughout 2022, when bosses weighed up the political and reputational risk of such a move. And meanwhile, Thames continues to charge customers for the works and Ofwat was only formally told of the company's plans not to deliver these major projects in August 2023. So Ofwat knew what they were doing, and they still allowed them to get a price increases. A letter seen by The Guardian was sent to the head of the regulator Ofwat, David Black, by the company's then interim co-chief executive and former boss of the watchdog, Carrying Rosk. In its response to The Guardian and the 2023 letter to Ofwat, Thames said sharp increases in its costs, such as energy and chemicals, which it claimed went beyond standard measures of inflation, laid behind its decision to delay the works. Sure, it did. Sure, it did, guys. It told the regulator it would not deliver 98 of the 826 schemes under the Water Industry National Environment Programme, WINDEEP, during the 5-year window at that promise. The delivery of these projects, which include schemes to reduce phosphorus pollution in rivers, was a key justification for how much Thames was allowed to charge customers. The revelation comes as Britain's biggest water company fights for its survival. It's trying to secure $3 billion in emergency funding and at least $3.25 billion more in equity investment to prevent its collapse after years of poor performance, fines and hefty dividends payouts. Wine pit projects include statutory obligations of water companies with potential criminal liability. Saw that coming. And potential criminal liability if they breach their licenses, failing to deliver them. Hand sanitizer, guys. Always have it ready. Thames decided behind the scenes to hold up almost 100 projects as early as 2022 without first warnings to its regulators. Sources said some of the projects Thames delayed were among the largest it agreed to when asked Ofwat for its highest bills as part of its 2019 price review. Good to see you, Rosemary. Hope you're doing well there. Anybody else that's popping in? The cuts to environment works did not stop the company from paying dividends or bonuses to staff, and it continued to pay both throughout the 2020-2025 billing period, for which it claimed it lacked the funds to complete the works. Ofwat fined the company $18.2 million on the 19th of December for breaching rules on paying unjustified dividends, after the company paid out $37.5 million in October 2023 and $158 million in March 2024. On the same day, it also gave Thames permission to increase consumer bills by 35% by 2030. See, this is an insult. Like, you find the company $18.2 million, they paid out $37.5 million and $158 million. Like, that's nothing. That's nothing. They don't care. It just doesn't matter. Thames regulated water service are part of a sprawling network of holding companies. Dividends were paid out of its operating company up towards its shareholders. Ofwat's divergence rule, which was toughened in April 2023, are meant to stop companies taking money out of business where their performance does not merit it. in a way the payout does not take financial resilience into account or service delivery for customers and the environment. This is the thing, like, you can't stop, like, this is why this privatization does not work. It just doesn't work. I don't know if anyone's seen the video of Helena No Justice. She did a video on there was debate between Owen Jones and that evil witch from one of the think tanks, and they were on oh god, I can't remember the guy's name. I don't know. I'm sure someone will mention the guy's program show, but yeah, she was trying to justify keeping it in the hands of private companies, and it was just like, please, like, stop. I mean, it just makes logical sense at this point. Like, ever since we privatized it, our water's just been worse and worse off ever since. And it's just, I just don't understand why anyone is trying to defend this. Spokesperson for Thames Water did not deny that it delayed environmental works that it had promised to have been paid to carry out. Spokesperson also did not deny that some of the funds had been used for other business costs, including bonuses and dividend payments. When asked for a response by The Guardian, Thames said that without allegations it had diverted funds were entirely false and without merit. In a later statement, Thames said that the only allegations that it did so secretly was false. In a public statement from 6 chief executives over the past 5 years, Thames has consistently maintained its position that environmental improvements are a high priority for the company. Maintaining and improving the health of the rivers in our areas matter to me. I've made reducing pollution a key part of the turnaround for the company. Chris Wadston, the current chief executive at Thames Water. Hogwash. Absolute hogwash. Said in a river health report published by the company this year. His comments echoed those of predecessors at the top job at the water company. Document states that addressing the levels of nutrients, particularly phosphorus, in our rivers remain a key focus, despite the company secretly trying to cut money pledged to address such concerns. Phosphorus in rivers and waterways can cause algal blooms that suffocate wildlife. It is right that we are held to account for complying with our legal obligations, Weston said in a call with journalists on December 10th, as he noted a sharp increase in pollution caused by the business. We also maintain a high level of capital investment for the benefit of our customers and the environment, its former Joint Chief Executive and Chief Financial Officer Alistair Colden said on the same call. The government's YP, I don't know what I can't even say that word properly, effort was created to address water companies' role in protecting and enhancing the environment. After a series of sewage and pollution scandals, it was intended to challenge water suppliers to provide resilient, safe and environment-enhancing service to customers. Thames could face criminal prosecutions not only to find it was found to have breached its permits by Ofwat or the Environment Agency, the EA. The EA has fined water companies more than 130 million since 2015 and fined Southern Water 9 million in 2021 after what it was its largest ever criminal investigation. In response to a detailed question from The Guardian, a Thames spokesperson said the allegations of secretly diverted money is entirely false and without merit. The board and the leadership Thames will remain focused on turning around the business. We have submitted to Ofwat a robust business plan for the next 5 years that proposes a record investment in our assets. We've been very open about the challenge of delivering all the elements of our YMP7 program, which has been impacted by the cost increase that are higher than inflation index applied to our allowance. In this YMP7 period, we are forecast to spend £601 million against the allowance of £369 million. And this is well documented in our business plan for 2025-2030 and on our website. We remain fully committed to delivering on all our YMP commitments and intend on all the outstanding projects that are currently underway and in the process of being delivered. Shareholders have not received an extra external dividend since 2016, and our business plans assume dividends will not be paid before 2030. I don't buy any of this for 1 second, and neither should any of you guys in the chat whatsoever. This is all hogwash. I'm not buying any of it. Considering what has been done to our water industry, no. And considering the debts that they have, they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're getting away with it. They're just getting away with it, and it's absolutely shameful. Just see what you guys are saying in the chat. Everyone's saying hello to each other. These guys should be made to pay massive fines in jail, says Wake Up, says Rosemary. Yeah, absolutely, they should be. They should definitely do so. The water here tastes so good because of the public ownership of our water company. We're not going to be drinking fresh water like down the road. Well, I'm not having that where I am, Mad Monk. But yeah, it's because you guys didn't privatise your water industry, and it makes logical sense not to do so. I don't know why there isn't a campaign to stop paying bills. That's a good question, buddy. That is a very good question. The water bosses would prefer people just forget about it. It's all water under the bridge. Literally, water under the bridge, yeah. Grief is rife with these useless companies. Yeah, because the government has to bail these companies out. Because people need water. They have to. People need water. That's the problem. Which is that's what's so crap about this whole situation. Are they using the debt as insurance against nationalisation? Yeah, but like I've said, there's ways to get around the paying off the debt. There's ways the government can get around paying off the debt. There are ways that they can nationalise it without having to pay this debt, but they're just choosing not to. They're making the Labour government are making a political choice not to nationalise the water companies when they know that they can do so. It's a political choice. They know that. Everyone is telling them how they can do it, but they're making a political choice not to. That's the biggest problem. Like, if anyone tells you about that we would be lavish with this debt, it's absolute lies. There are plenty of ways that the government can get around it. I think, like I said it before, about buying bonds. They could buy bonds as one way. Government bonds, as Rosemary's just pointed out there. I'm sure there's plenty of other ways that they can get around it. But to say that they can't nationalise it is hogwash. They can do it, and they are just choosing not to, and they're choosing to put us in this mess, while also choosing to allow them to increase our water bills as well, which we've already discussed as well. So this is a very interesting story. This one is also from The Guardian. This one I'm very interested to see what would happen if it does. So the Lib Dems could force a Commons vote on Waspi compensation, says Cooper. So Daisy Cooper says the party's shock and anger over Labour's government refusal to spend up to £10 billion on bailouts. Now, I don't know if the Lib Dems are going to force a Commons vote on this. I would like them to do so. I want Labour to be put under right pressure in doing so on this. This is also from The Guardian for reference as well. I really hope they do. They do force the Commons vote and force Labour MPs to either abstain or reject it. Like, for a lot of those Labour MPs, they will be in deep waters if they're forced to Commons vote on the Waspi compensation. It will be very, very bad for them. I think this would be a very good decision by the Liberal Democrats as they do. This will allow Labour. This could put Labour in a very difficult position. Already, obviously, there's been a lot of frustration from Labour MPs behind the scenes. Backbench MPs, Labour MPs are very angry about this decision. This is like a lot of YouTubers have said, and a lot of people have said, this is one they should not have done. This is one that they really should have paid out for. I know 10 billion is a lot of pounds. It's a lot of money, but they've been standing by the Waspi women for a long time, Labour, and they really have stabbed them in the back. They really should have just coughed up the money and been done, on this. And this would not have been here. This would not have been here. So the Liberal Democrats could force a Commons vote on compensation for Waspi women. The party's deputy leader has said, capitalising on unease among Labour MPs over the government's decision to rule it out. So Daisy Cooper suggested Lib Dems were open to using one of their upcoming opposition debates in the House of Commons to call for a vote on the issue, which could test the strength of feeling among Labour backbenchers. The Guardian reported last week that as many as 100 Labour MPs could vote against the government's decision to rule out spending up to £10 billion on compensation for women born in the 1950s who were not aware of changes to the state pension age. Keir Starmer said last week the taxpayer could not afford the compensation package that the parliamentary ombudsman had recommended. This is 100% BS. If a government ever tells you that they don't have money, that's not true. They always have money. It's just a case of choosing to use it. They always have money. Governments always have money. It's just a political choice to use it. He and other Labour figures have previously appeared in photographs alongside Waspi women to lend their support, and that's the problem. That's public trust that you've broken there. So if you can't be trusted with keeping your word about supporting the Waspi women, how can you be trusted with anything else? This is a fundamental thing. He talks about restoring trust, and this is the big one. You know, like, don't get me wrong. Some of the other policies that Labour are responsible for are bad, but they weren't promises. This was one that they've always talked about. You know, helping these WASPy women, compensating for them, and they've not done. They've not kept to that. This is the one for me. This is the big breaker for Keir Starmer and his party. So Rachel Reeves, who also appeared to support the campaign, has told The Guardian that there was nothing in Labour's last election manifesto that made commitments on compensation. You're right, there was no commitments on there. But the fact that the majority of you have been pictured with them, said you would stand by them, that you would support them, that there would be compensation at some point in the future, doesn't change the fact that you guys weren't pictured and standing by them. Does not change that whatsoever. Even if you haven't got it in the manifesto, doesn't change that. It was in our manifesto in 2019, but we all know what happened in that general election. You'll remember as well as at the general election, Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell said that you would fund it from the reserves, the Chancellor said. Well, what reserves? There is no reserves. The previous government spent the reserves 3 months in the financial year, 3 times over. Again, this is lies. If they tell you that there's no money, that's nothing. That's BS. I've said this before. I said this again. They literally found £5 million to give towards international support for Syria. Literally, they found £5 million behind the back of a sofa. Don't buy into this premise that they don't have money. They always have money. It's just, again, choice. This country can't afford it. Not true. This would mean less money for our schools. Not true. And our hospitals. Again, not true. And in the end, you have to make difficult choices. Again, not true. Cooper told PA Media, we're very angry about it, and we do think the government needs to think again. What you can see is that there are MPs of all political parties, including on all Labour's own backbenches, who are very concerned. So we'll continue to raise it in Parliament at every opportunity, and that may include an Opposition Day debate. She said the Lib Dems had been really shocked when ministers said they would not follow up the Ombudsman recommendation. The watchdog said the women should be paying up to £2,950 each, a package with a potential cost of $10.5 billion to the public purse because poor communication meant they had lost out on the chance to plan their retirement finance. Ministers ruled this out and said paying the money to members of the Women Against the State Pension Equality campaign would not be a fair use of taxpayer cash. Yeah, but they can find money for for weapons and arms and whatnot. You know, they can find money for their big toys in the military industry. You know, the new latest laser technology weapons or bazookas and whatnot. We can always find money for war, guys. But you know, for those who are undone or unjustified, it's a bit more difficult there. But maybe if it was a military weapon, we could find the money. If we could find that, maybe. Alistair Keir, Graham Iston, good to see you both. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. When they say they don't have money, it's just absolute nonsense, guys. Yeah, it's really, really annoying. And I'm sure it won't be the last time I talk about the Waspi women. But if they do bring a Commons vote next month, that'll be really interesting to see how they do. Like, is Labour gonna free line whip them in a situation like that? That's not going to be very good for a lot of Labour MPs. They're going to say, a lot of Labour MPs are going to be under serious pressure. This next one I got for you guys is an exclusive from iNews. How insane the Home Office errors helped create a new asylum-seeker homelessness problem. Hold on, let me just want to fix that screen. There we go. Spelling mistakes, botched data, and a lack of coordination between officials all contributed to a spike in rough sleeping. Yeah, the way they handled themselves, Labour has been absolutely. Sorry, the Conservatives. My apologies. The Conservatives. Joe Lefty, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. As Sakir, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. And please, what? I appreciate the £2. But it's good to see you, buddy. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, there's a combination of things that led to rough sleeping. Obviously, lack of housing. There's been a lack of finance from councils to support those who are vulnerable. there's just not. There's been the situation around asylum seekers, the rhetoric that's been used around them. I never forget. Was it a couple of years ago? Was it last year or the year before when Suella Braverman was the Home Secretary, and she made she tried to dump a bunch of asylum seekers outside Victoria Station to try and get them off the system, just basically just to try to release them like animals, like try to release them, which is like absolutely shameful. Just leave them to fend for themselves, like no support, no nothing. And luckily, charities got wind of it and responded as quickly as possible to it as well, which was very, very good. But at that time, it was just absolutely despicable for them to do. Would love a guest. Yeah, I would love a guest. I'm yes. Thank you for that super chat, Aztakir. Yeah, definitely would try and get a guest on for next month if possible. So let's read a bit more into this. So the Home Office mistakes have helped trigger a surge in homelessness that has left thousands of refugees and asylum seekers sleeping rough on Britain's streets, the iPaper has been told. No one should be surprised by this, given how disgusting and ungrateful the Conservatives have been. Official figures show that the annual number of people registered as homeless after leaving hotels and other government asylum accommodations has already quadrupled by June to 16,500, up from around 4,000 in the previous 12 months. And local councils responsible for finding housing for newly evicted migrants said they fear the numbers are about to increase again. They have been blaming the influx on an acceleration in the processing of asylum cases since the Home Office was ordering to clear a huge backlog. But according to an insider at the department, a significant proportion of the homelessness cases have actually been caused by administrative errors that mean official documents are being sent late or to the wrong address. Yeah, this was happening under the Conservatives. I remember us even talking about that they were losing, that there were some asylum seekers, where they were like, I'm trying to get my words a full Alistair Keir. There was another £1 super chat. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, you don't have to, honestly. I really appreciate it. Thanks for that super chat. I really appreciate it, buddy. It's fine, no worries. It's all right. Work is work, buddy. It's all good. But yeah, the administration areas. This was happening under the Conservatives. So we had situations, and there were cases. The iPaper and several other papers have reported it in some of the accommodations of where some of these people were. Right, their claims had been processed of whether they were rejected or accepted, but paperwork weren't sent to them, or they were sent to places without any information about, not knowing who they are, where they're from and everything, because they never kept the information on them when they first arrived, or they got misplaced or missing or whatnot. So the Conservatives weren't doing anything whatsoever about them. And they were just piling them up in places, and not putting any effort whatsoever in the Home Office whatsoever to deal with these people. And I said this at the time, like, it was going to be an absolute mess. And to be fair, like, you have to give credit where credit is due, and I've said this. Like, Labour have cleared like 9,000, processed 9,000 claims. Like, they are clearing this. They are trying to clear this backlog. And yes, there are lots coming in, but my God, they're doing a grand job of clearing out a lot of them as well. Rejecting, accepting claims, getting through as much of the process as possible. The mistakes of being refugees are being left in limbo without an accommodation. They've been receiving eviction notices before being told the results of their asylum claim, and are being kicked out of their accommodation without having the necessary documents to prove their right to live and work in the UK. And this is the biggest thing. Like, they process some of these cases where the process has been accepted and they're accepted into the UK society, and they've been kicked out before they even get their documents. And it's just like absolutely horrifying. Like, what are they supposed to do? They need those documents to get going in their life, and they can't. And they've been forced out against their will. The problem with the delayed documents to go back to the previous Conservative government, but Home Office officials speaking on condition of autonomy told the iPaper that they are continuing under Labour and are currently being made worse by spelling mistakes and botched data transfers. They said that the errors caused by the systematic departmental problems and a lack of coordination between different teams of Home Office. Civil servants were also helping to create a spike in homelessness. They described the situation as insane. Most of those left destitute are understood to be recognised refugees who had their claims granted but were not given enough time to support or find housing and employment, or register for benefits before their asylum support was cut off. So Woodland Brace, a policy officer at the Refugee Council, also said that Home Office mistakes are leading to people being forced to sleep rough. And we know that ineffectiveness in mistakes in the Home Office process are leading to newly recognised refugees being made homeless, he said. Yeah, this is again, like, so you end up creating more homelessness than for us to deal with as well. So this becomes a problem for councils as well. Councils end up having to deal with this situation because they end up on the street because their process hasn't been claimed, or like I said, when some of them were dumped by the Conservatives as well. Issues such as delay or incorrect documentation, notices being sent to the wrong address, and e-visas not working have left people unable to access finances, housing and vital support during an already challenging transition. In our service, we supported people who have ended up on the street in recent weeks due to wrongful evictions caused by these errors. Asylum seekers are not allowed to work or are given support to integrate while awaiting the results of their application. They are then expected to be self-sufficient within weeks of asylum being granted, but need the right documents to do so. Yeah, this is one of the biggest crux. Yeah, ever since asylum seekers are not been allowed to work, we as taxpayers have to pay out for them. And if the Conservatives made that. And that's something that Labour should have undone. They should have undone that so that at least they could be allowed to work, so that it could at least take some money off the taxpayer system. But no, that's not allowed. Once the decision has been made to grant a person's asylum, they should swiftly receive a letter from the Home Office following a biometric residence permit, BRP, or e-visas which proves the right to live and work in the UK. And next they should receive notice that their asylum, housing and financial support will be discontinued from a specific date. And finally, a notice to quit from their current accommodation provider. But insiders say they have seen a significant number of cases where refugees have received their notice to quit and nothing else, seeing them kicked out within as little as a week without knowing their own immigration status. A transition window where recognised refugees can continue living in asylum-seeker accommodation, called the moving on period, have been temporarily lengthened from 28 days to 56 days by the government, but charities say refugees are still ending up on the streets. Sophie Cartwright, Senior Policy Officer at Jevsuit Refugee Service UK, said, regulatory have cases where people don't receive communication. It might be late or it might have been sent to the wrong address. That can even happen if they're living in a home office accommodation. You wonder how these errors are made, and we've seen a lot, and it's pretty worrying. The Home Office official pointed to botched transfers and personal data from an old database to the department's troubled Atlas system, together with spelling mistakes in the names that are rendered BRPs and e-visas invalid. Yeah, I think I remember there was something about changing some of the systems where there were screw-ups as well. I remember this under the Conservatives. There was some kind of system errors as well. The official said that to correct the errors, the BRPs have had to be destroyed and new ones had to be printed and posted. They said the process was further lengthened because asylum decision makers aren't authorised to do the name changes. Managers need to get involved. The official added that documents will continue to be received in the wrong order and the wrong place because of mistakes that were caused by the systematic issues in the Home Office. Accommodation providers are supposed to inform the Home Office of address changes, but admins in the Home Office are supposed to change addresses on Atlas. But sometimes it doesn't happen, they said. So the documents go to the accommodation site and they know that they no longer live in. It just becomes merry-go-round. The official added that the asylum decision letters and notices were sent out by separate teams inside the Home Office who should act in coordination but often don't. They also accused the previous Conservative government of deliberately dumping refugees on councils who become automatically responsible for them once their asylum cases are closed. Yeah, and this is what I meant by the dumping. This is what Sir Broman was doing. He's trying to offload responsibility onto councils to deal with. The whole point was to dump the accommodation costs on the local authorities and communities. There are heaps of refugees on the street, they said. The increase in homelessness was flagged by several people several times and in several venues, and the answer was, this is what the government asked us to do, and we are doing it. Government was first publicly warned of worsening situation in September 2023, when a group of charities sent a letter to the Home Office saying newly recognised refugees were not receiving documents on time and called for a moving on period to be extended from 28 days to increase their chances of becoming self-sufficient. The Conservatives did not act on the call, and Labour's extension on the move-on period is a temporary pilot, which started on December the 9th and will run until June. So Labour have put it on, but the Conservatives obviously didn't. Ms. Cartwright said that although the difficulties faced by refugees following the withdrawal of support were long-standing, they have been exacerbated by a massive increase in decisions and asylum processing shortcuts, which have been maintained by Labour. And it's just impossible to do all these things that you need to do in 28 days, and we're worried that there's still not going to have enough time, she added. While it's really positive that the government has extended the moving on period, we want it to be permanent. A 56-day period has potential to improve things, but it doesn't go far enough. And in August 2023, the Conservatives temporarily shortened the move-on period by starting the clock from a point asylum decision letters rather than biometric resident permits were sent out. The following quarter, official statistics showed the number of households being registered homeless after leaving the Home Office in accommodation shot up by 5,290. This is the Watchdog's homelessness vaulting here. Yes, this is where they... So, let me read this. So, in the report published in February, the Independent Chief Inspector of Borders and Immigration, that's the ICIBI, had been informed that many asylum seekers have received a notice to quit from their hotel or accommodation provider without receiving the decision from the Home Office. They have been thrown out of their accommodation and made homeless. Stakeholders said that in many cases their clients were not aware of whether their claim had been granted or refused to access benefits following the withdrawal of the asylum support. An individual would need to demonstrate that they had been granted refugee status or humanitarian protection, but without a letter or a BRP, this was not possible. Home Office staff told the Watchdog that there have been significant delays in the production of BRP cards for newly recognised refugees during Rishi Sunak's drive to clear a backlog of old claims before the end of 2023. And at one point, they had 3,000 emails claiming they had not been received. 3,000! 3,000! And now, you remember this? I think I remember this last year as well, at the end of 2023. I remember that they were trying to hit a target. You remember they were trying to hit like a certain target to say, yeah, we've cleared this many people out of the backlog system. I think this was, again, I think this was under Suella or maybe another Home Secretary. They had quite a few different, one or two other ones. But I think this was an attempt to try and I just need to save that screenshot again. It's once again not working. Thank you, Alistair, for the 5 gifted memberships. Yeah, but it's still not working. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that, Alistair. Still, like, I can't, like, I've complained to YouTube. They won't fix the gifting membership issue. Yeah, it's very annoying that the gifted memberships don't work at the moment. Yeah, I mean, I remember them. They were rushing, and then that's obviously I think that was another reason. It may not have been, might have been summer last year was when they were doing a lot of the dumping as well. So under Labour, the current moving on period clock starts from when asylum decision letters rather than biometric resident permits are sent out. Mr. Bride welcomed the decision to extend the moving on period to 56 days in the short term, but adding it is not enough people die of the correct documents when they need them. The move on period should only begin once refugees have access to their e-visas, and all their documents should arrive at the same time. Without these safeguards, the refugees will continue to face the unacceptable risk of homelessness, just as they are granted safety and the chance to rebuild their lives. Yeah. Additional safeguards are now being created to ensure asylum seekers have 28 days with access to electronic visa before their support is stopped, and can only be served a notice to quit their accommodation after they can access their visa. A Home Office spokesperson said, "We have inherited enormous pressures in the asylum system and remain absolutely committed to ending the use of the hotels. We have restarted asylum processing to clear the backlogs and ramped up the returns of foul asylum seekers, with over 13,000 people removed since the government came to power." Wow, wasn't that long ago they said 9,000? Damn. 13,000 they're saying. They've cleared 13,000 people. That's pretty astonishing. I had a feeling they would hit 10,000. I wasn't expecting them to hit 13,000 if that number is true, obviously. I'm sure official statistics at some point will say will come through at some point anyway. But yeah, it's yeah, pretty astonishing to say the least here. But this isn't obviously like, for those who obviously keep banging on about immigration, banging on about migration, banging on about the asylum system, like, in terms of obviously cross the boats and stopping the boats, we know the solution to it. Zoe Gardner, the immigration expert, has said this. Other experts have pointed this out. Safe legal routes. That will kill the gangs. Full stop. And we know that that's the solution. government, both Labour and the Conservatives, are choosing not to implement that. Hence why we're still having this issue. However, when it comes to applications and dealing with them, the asylum seekers are rejecting or accepting their applications. The numbers aren't lying. They are actually clearing it. They are actually clearing the backlogs, and it is a good thing. So they are doing that as well. So that is a good thing that they are doing. There's still a lot of work there, that's for sure. Stephen Banker, thank you so much for that £2 super chat. We thank you for all you do. I really appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Thank you. So yeah, it's gone through there. Man, the chat on my computer is so slow. Well, I can't use it there. I'll have to use my phone. Any notion of compassion or fundamental human rights are dead in the water, says Rosemary. Yeah, it's a real. Yeah, I know. People really don't have any compassion these days. Many people are just brainwashed to think that all these people who come over are just like they're evil or they're taking their jobs or whatnot, and they don't realise that it's the millionaires and billionaires that are making them worse off. It's disgusting the way people are being treated. They're humans and should be treated with humanity, says Stephen Banker. Absolutely. What's not working? The gifted memberships. It doesn't work sometimes, unfortunately, which is a real shame. It'll only process unless it highlights them in the live chat. What happens is it gets refunded. Graham Essen says, why don't they reopen the embassy asylum application office when refugees will remain in the application country until their case is heard? It worked, wasn't broken until they closed these offices. That's a very good point, Graham. You know, one of the arguments that I said that they should set up something on the other side of in France, but they still haven't. They don't want to do that. And one of the other things was a political reason that they don't want to do it as well. So one of the political reasons is they don't want to give reform. They want reform to be focused on immigration as a distraction for them. So just as a scroll up to see what else. Avery Lamb, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. We need immigrants to be able to work as we have a labour shortage, says Romeo Mary. Yep, absolutely. Ironic the Home Office creating homelessness. Yeah, I know. It's pretty embarrassing. It's embarrassing, I know. Really, really bad. They have money if they freeze all the recruitment to the House of Lords and give a Waspi bonus every year with the money saved over 5 years, says Graham. There you go. Yeah, they don't need that money anyway, the House of Lords. We didn't even elect them anyway. And 80 plus are going into the House of Lords thanks to Starmer. Yeah, absolutely. Just scroll back down. Oh, 5 Swiss pounds. Oh, thank you, Martin, for that. Appreciate it. I definitely Switzerland is definitely a country I would love to visit definitely one day. Thank you for that. Really appreciate your support. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate all your support so far. Really do. I got a wee boost in the form of a gifted scratch card from my friend. Says Stephen Baker. Oh, that's very nice. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate your support. Very, very nice. Generous of you guys. Like I said, there'll be some funny stuff. We'll do some funny stuff after, guys. The next one I've got is a very short one. We talked about it before. Why is it? Oh my God, not again. Why is this not? So this one is from the BBC. So the Prime Minister and Zelensky discussed UK training for UK training of Ukrainian forces. Now, why hasn't this been done? Like, why have we not just moved why have we not just put them over there already? Like why have we not just sent UK forces over there to train Ukrainian forces? Like, I just don't understand what the issue is here. Like, I don't know why people are worried about upsetting Putin and Russia and whatnot. Like, they're already mad at us anyway, so I just don't see why we need to worry about them anyway. Stephen Moran, thank you so much for the five New Zealand dollars. I really appreciate it. Why is it not? There we go. There you go. Thanks for that, guys. Yeah, I'm going to try and see if I can get a guest on. There is one person in particular I'm thinking of getting. Might be somebody we had before. That's for sure. Graham at Politics Social had slow chat this morning, but I think he went into settings to switch it off. Something which slow chat this morning. It's nothing to do with that with the membership. No, it's just my computer screen being a bit slow on the other side. That's all it is with that. But thanks for that. Yeah, I couldn't join. I had work to do, unfortunately. But coming back to the topic here, so see, there's a part of me just thinking like, are we still expecting the wind down next year? Are we finally going to have an end to this? Are we finally going to have peace next year in 2025? And as much as it pains me to say this, you know, for Ukraine to lose the territory that they're going to lose, I really think, yeah, it is. I really feel they're going to have to cede territory, and it really does upset me, because it's their land, it's their homes, it's their people has been taken from them by Russia, and they're going to get away with it. And what really is quite infuriating about all this is that what I feel is going to happen, and what really worries me is that if a peace agreement is a compromise is made next year, my feeling is that restrictions on Russia will start getting lifted over time, because Russia will start being nice, and they will pretend to start being nice, and people will start uplifting sanctions against them. There'll be pressure from people saying, Russia are listening, Russia are being good. And this is what I'm really, really worried about, guys. And then they may just go again. Oh, thank you, Alistair, for the £10 super chat to make up for the membership fail. Oh, it's not your fault. Honestly, it's not your fault. Wait till next month, and we'll try the membership thing again. Wait till next month. But yeah, appreciate your support, and everybody else who's been supportive. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so let's read a bit more into this, you guys. So Keir Starmer and Volodymyr Zelensky have agreed on the importance of redefining the UK's training of Ukrainian forces to bolster the country's defence. In a call with the Ukrainian president on Monday, the Prime Minister said that Western allies were united in their determination to put Ukraine in the strongest possible position going into 2025. And it comes after it emerged the Ministry of Defence was considering the possibility of sending British troops to Ukraine to help train its armed forces. Britain has been training Ukrainian troops in the UK since 2022, while there is a small team of British Army medics providing training inside Ukraine. UK and other NATO members have not sent troops to Ukraine or reinforced a no-fly zone over the country for fear of being pulled into direct conflict with Russia. However, individual members have supplied arms and equipment. In their call, Downing Street said the two leaders discussed Operation Interflex, which has seen more than 45,000 Ukrainian personnel trained on British soil since Russia invaded Ukraine. This is stupid. Why are we training them here? Why are we not training them over there? It makes more sense for our people to be over there training them. The pair agreed on the importance of redefining its offer to further bolster Ukraine's ability on the battlefield, a number 10 spokeswoman said. What happens in Ukraine in the coming weeks and months matters to Europe and NATO. It was vital to President Putin's ambitions fail in Ukraine. The leaders have agreed, she added. In a post on X, Zelensky thanked Keir and the British people for their unwavering support and continuing to save Ukrainian lives. The call came after Keir Starmer attended a summit of the Joint Expeditionary Forces in Estonia, where leaders discussed support for Ukraine. The defensive coalition is made up of the UK, Denmark, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, the Netherlands, Norway, Finland, Sweden, and Iceland. Downing Street said the group underscored the importance of matching their words with concrete action, including further sanctions on the Shadow Fleet and of ships used by Russia to export oil, the acceleration of lethal aid, and support for the Ukraine defense industrial base. Yeah. But the part of me, as I've talked about as many times, guys, I do think we are coming near the end of this, and I really do hope it does end. You know, as much as, you know, for me, it's about the lives, the human lives that are being lost, the lives on both sides of this. You know, Ukrainian forces, Russian forces, North Korean soldiers, and of course the citizens of Ukrainian citizens that are losing their lives every day of this. We also know that thousands and thousands of Ukrainian children have been taken from the seized territory by Russia into Russia, and many of them have been stripped away from their parents and whatnot. Very, very few have been returned to Ukraine by Russia, some of those children as well, which is also something really, really nasty, really nasty thing I think that they have done as well. Yeah, that's for me. You know, the children thing is the really tragic thing, to take those children away. It's been nothing short of pretty disgusting, you guys. So I've got one more story to cover here before we get into the funny bits. So this last one here, piece I've got for you guys, is from Byline Times. So this last one here is Fiscal. Nimbyism makes it harder to fix public services. So, fed by an irresponsible media, neither voters nor political leaders are willing to accept the trade-offs to inherit in physical choices, writes Chris Gray in his monthly column for the Byline Times print edition. It is. Mainstream media paints a picture. It doesn't paint the picture that the public want. It paints the picture that it wants to paint. It'll give them the news, but it doesn't give them in the way that it gives them in the way that they want to portray the news to people, not in the way that they should be painted to them. Sorry guys, I've recorded quite a lot of videos today, that's why I'm running a bit dry. Not to mention it's a bit chilly as well. Indoctrination of the kids is terrible. Yeah, it is pretty horrible. It's about Russia controlling its navy access to the Mediterranean. That does play a part in it as well. That's the reason why that's one of the reasons why they annexed Crimea back in 2015. But also, they wanted access. They wanted access to it. But like me personally, for a long time I've always said that Ukraine, should should have all their territory brought back to them, including 2015. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case there. But yeah, they want their access to the Mediterranean, because even though that they still have some access on their lands to the Mediterranean, if you take out the territory that they ceded from Ukraine and even from Crimea, they still have some land to the Mediterranean. The problem is that it's not the best strategic naval base that they've got there. It's not very ideal. Whereas Crimea is Sevastopol. It's much more. I think it's Sevastopol. This is the main dockyard. It's much more strategic, much more reliable for them there. And if it was up to Russia, they would probably take all of the sea from Ukraine and completely cut them off completely if it was up to them. That's for sure. So let's read into this interesting article piece by Chris Gray here about Nimbyism. I do like these fascinating stories every now and then from Byline Times. So one of the factors which brought Labour to power was the widespread sense under the last Conservative government that nothing works anymore, especially when it comes to public service. It carries the implementation that not just government spending needed to increase, but also that it needed to be better targeted. It's possible, of course, to argue that Labour's entire framing of fiscal policy is wrong, and that Keir Starmer's government should substantially raise general taxation and also borrow more freely. But there is little public appetite for the former, while bond markets' reactions to the new fiscal rules announced in October's budget suggest the latter has already been stretched to the limit. Even as much a freer fiscal environment, there would still be decisions about where to raise taxes and focus spending. That is the background of two of the most contentious fiscal decisions the government has taken so far, limiting winter fuel payments and reducing the inheritance tax exemptions on farms. There is a rationale case for both. Why should people who don't really need the winter fuel payments get it when there are such a pressing needs for money for public services? And why should farming land be used as a device to avoid inheritance tax by the super wealthy? In those terms, these are small but sensible ways of reallocating public expenditure to higher priorities. It is also true that those just above the cut-off point for winter fuel payments will generally suffer, and that although the numbers involved are disputed, some family farms will suffer and even disappear, caught up in the net of the inheritance tax changes. The point, however, is not the merits of these particular changes, is that they illustrate how any retargeting of resources adversely affects some while benefiting others, the loser far more vocal than the beneficiary. But if every attempt faces a huge backlash of protests, then the danger is that no change is possible, or perhaps worse, that those who can most loudly and effectively protest become untouchable. Conversely, the weakest and the most unpopular groups suffer. For example, it's widely known that prisons are in a disgraceful state, but it's much harder to mobilize public anger about that than it is for groups who can be sympathetic present, such as freezing pensioners or hard-pressed farmers. Who will blockade the streets for criminals? The result is a kind of physical Nimbyism. I don't know about you, but I think that's completely true. Just as people may agree that the new housing needs building, and but bulk at them and not being built near them. They don't want the government spending targets where it is most needed, so as long as they don't lose out in the process. Yeah. People are fickle is a good word to describe some people as well. And the consequences aren't simply in Syria. I can't say that word, sorry. Then one approach is to spread the pain by making a large number of relatively small changes to how public money is used. The danger, and it seems to be happening now, is that the government faces so many disparity challenges that it is becoming seen as embroiled in a rolling crisis. The even greater danger is that the governmental willingness to tackle big, important problems disappears. For example, almost everyone recognises the council tax system is broken. Based on property valuations from 1991, it is, irrational and unfair. Similarly, most recognised from the social care system is broken, with a knock-on damage to the NHS and actually far more than inheritance tax. Reduces what many people end up being able to pass on to their children. These and similar problems and their solutions are well documented in endless reports and reviews. They are things which, from outside government, are subject to repeated calls for root and branch overhaul. Yet no government is willing to tackle them, and they are repeatedly parked as too difficult. That is hardly surprising, because even if quite small changes to the tax and benefit systems produce anguish and implacable opposition, then how much more would that be true for the bigger issues? Fixing the council tax system, for instance, would certainly mean many people in London and the South East, where house prices have risen disproportionately compared to the rest of the country, are paying more. All this can be seen as politically immaturity. Much of it fed by an irresponsible media, in which neither voters nor political leaders are willing to accept the trade-offs inherent in physical choices. Each of these two groups bears some responsibility. Politicians who say or act as if it is possible to have your cake and eat it, or who promise magical solutions, are partly to blame. But so too are voters who, while insisting that they just want politicians to tell the truth, punish such politicians if the truth turns out to be to their disadvantage. Maybe just little Nimbyism means nothing gets built. The effects of physical Nimbyism is to make it harder to fix public services. So it continues to be the case that nothing works anymore. At best, it leads to consistent government chung, as incumbents are kicked out for not delivering. At worst, it leads to a society which ceases to believe that democratic politics can solve any of its problems. Sad but true, unfortunately. People are impatient, people are fickle, people expect everything to be fixed straight away. People lack patience, I think is a good word to describe a lot of things these days. That's one thing that people don't have enough of, is patience with society. That's for sure. Clarkson is one hard-working farmer. Yeah, I don't think he is, Jal, but yeah, I know you're joking, but yeah. Clarkson is a sustainable farmer. He generates his own manure. That is true. It was funny to see him as the knight in manure and armor to the farmers, says Jal. Turkey is joining EU, then NATO, question mark, says Graham. I don't know about that. I don't think so. I'm not sure about that one. Now, Jeremy Clarkson has a farm, EIO. Yes, indeed. Well, that was an interesting argument piece about physical Nimbyism. I mean, it's true. You know, people are indeed very impatient. You know, people expect things handed on a plate to them. You know, we have to learn to be patient. Like, I'm very critical of this Labour government, as you guys know, but I'm also incredibly patient in doing so. We have to give them a chance to see what they can do. You know, and like they said, in a couple of years, if they turn out to be doing crap, then they'll get kicked out, and rightly so. But we have to see the positives and the negatives. We've got to see both sides of this government, and there are some positives from them, but there are some negatives as well. So it is a bit of both on that, you guys. So we've covered pretty much all the pieces here, all the different articles for you guys. So we're going to have a little bit of fun now before... so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 funny videos for you guys, actually. 6. That's way too many. Way too many for you guys. But yeah, I thought I'd give you guys a bunch of funny videos from a couple of different ones here. But just to kind of see ourselves out. But for those who are here just for the news and that, I'll just say this now as well. Just a reminder, I will be live streaming on Friday. I'm not sure what kind of live stream it's going to be because it's going to be a Q&A live stream. So what I'm going to do is at some point during the week, and I can do this while I'm away from my computer, is I will set up a post asking for questions. And then when we do the live stream, you can ask some questions in the chat as well. So this Friday, we're probably going to do a Q&A. It'll probably be at 8 p.m. most likely. I just haven't set it up yet because I don't know what format I'm going to use for it. I might just so we'll definitely do a Q&A live stream. That's coming as well. And of course, I will see if I can get a guest on for Snowflake Talks next month as well. But let's have a bit of fun, guys. So, starting off with this classic one, guys. Do you remember James Cleverly? Do you remember when Michael Spicer really wished he was James Cleverly? This is Mr. James Cleverly. Oh dear, oh dear. This one's going to drive you up the wall about James Cleverly. You're going to be thinking about him all day and night now, guys.
I wish I was James Cleverly. I really want to be James Cleverly. There's something about James Cleverly that really inspires me to want to be him. I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's everything. Everything about James Cleverly inspires me to want to be him. I think he's the most inspirational man in the history of British politics. When I'm dead and gone, no one will remember me. But when James Cleverly is dead and gone, there will be statues, books, TV programmes, films, musicals, works of art, museums, all dedicated to the incomparable brilliance of James Cleverly. James Cleverly goes to police stations to hand round tins of roses and heroes. What other politician would go to police stations to hand round tins of roses and heroes? Well, every other politician would, because they all have the same PR team. But James Cleverly wants to do it more. You can see it in his eyes, even though his eyes look like a sad dog's. James Cleverly wants to be there. He wants to be in police stations handing around tins of roses and heroes. This is because he cares. That's why he looks relaxed and happy to be at that police station, rather than deeply uncomfortable and desperate to leave. What I like about James Cleverly is that despite his extraordinary virtuosity, he will willingly admit that he's made a mistake.
I shouldn't have said it, and I do apologise. But the point that I have made, so the point is at any given time, but the point is I'm the Home Secretary.
He will always admit to the mistakes he's made. Of course, he's not made many mistakes in his life because he is James Cleverly, and it's his infallibility that makes him supreme.
But again, I go back to my fundamental point.
Hours after the Home Office announced that it was cracking down on the crime of spiking drinks, James Cleverly inadvertently told a joke where he said that he had to slip a date rape drug into his wife's drinks on a regular basis so that she wouldn't leave him.
I apologised immediately. That apology is heartfelt. But the point that I've made is that
on any other day, this joke would have been hilarious, and if he'd have chosen to tell the joke on any other day, then it would have been seen for what it is. A harmless witticism about sexual assault. But he chose not to tell the joke on any other day. He chose to tell the joke hours after the Home Office announced that it was cracking down on the crime of spiking drinks.
I apologise, but I'm not going to be deterred.
And so the media made a big fuss over it, because that's what the media do. They make a big fuss over things. And he apologised, and he did it with dignity and grace. And then he had to go to the Houses of Parliament and apologise to a man for calling him a shit. And he did that with dignity and grace also.
What I said was a comment about him.
From time to time, James Cleverly does try to make himself seem like he's one of us.
Hi, I'm here with Tony Siracusa. Tony Siracusa, who is the candidate in... Where is it?
But I can see through all that. I can see through those carefully choreographed moments of staggering ineptitude.
What was stopping you doing that previously?
Well, I don't know.
I know he's not one of us. He's better than us. He's better than all of us.
The bill is still... If the treaty that we signed with Rwanda, in the same way that if there are treaties signed with other countries, if the treaty on which the bill, so the bill supports the treaty.
He's a giant. He's a political and intellectual giant with a brain like a MacBook Air. And I, for one, cannot wait until he is promoted to the position he rightfully deserves, that of the Prime Minister of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, or at the very least presenting some kind of railway documentary. Thank you.
But the point that I've made is that
bloody hell. He really wanted him to be Prime Minister. But it never happened. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. My God. You are going to have James Cleverly in your head for a couple of hours, guys. Alright, the next funny one I've got for you is a classic one. It's Janie Goodley. The late, great Jane Lee Goodley. I love this one, guys. This is a really nice one. I like this one. So this one is quite a few years ago, 3 years ago actually, when Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister here, gets shunned by French President Emmanuel Macron. Absolutely lovely stuff.
I hate to interrupt, Mr. Macron, but Mr. Macron, what? You know the French fishing thing? Brexit means Brexit. You don't get French fishing licence. We don't get them, you don't get them. That's what's happening. All right? Okay. Whatever. Good. What you guys talking about? He's a banker.
That's so embarrassing. God, I remember. I actually completely forgot about this moment. But yeah, Boris Johnson getting completely shunned there on stage. That's so embarrassing. Blimmin' heck. Oh. Yeah, not good, guys. That was not a good one. That was not very good from him. Hold on a second. What's that, Ollie? What? We got some broken news. Well, already? Oh, okay then. Ollie says there's some broken news we need to report. Dear. What's happened now? Okay, 1 second, guys. Larry and Paul have got some very important news to share to us.
Welcome to Broken News. Some breaking news this hour, and the celebrity who you idolised and adored while you were growing up has turned out to be a massive twat. It brings to an end any suggestion that you could have been BFFs with them. Our reporter has more.
A nation in mourning. Millions are waking up to the news that the sportsperson, musician, comedian, actor or academic that they've spent so many years admiring and venerating is, as it turns out, an unmitigated wankshaft. The news comes as that person has, for some reason, decided to go on a racist tirade on their Instagram account while seemingly pissed up on booze. Last week, the celebrity who you used a poster of to cover your maths exercise book in Year 10 decided they simply must become involved in a subject they know fuck all about for some reason, wading into it like a flailing tosspot into a river of shit. It added to recent controversy when the household name, who started out as a working class hero, suddenly outed themselves as a swivel-eyed right-wing lunatic, now that they're rich and famous and want to protect their wealth. The news comes as a blow to those people who had often daydreamed about bumping into the star and spending a bit of time with them in a pub. That now can't happen because of the compunction to smash their stupid head against a fucking wall. There is a silver lining in today's report, though. Broken News understands that David Attenborough is still lovely. Back to you.
Thank you. Well, as a lifelong Eric Clapton fan, there's certainly no worries for me on that score. What a lovely story. That's all from Broken News. You're up to date.
Very heartbroken to hear that. Childhood hero been exposed as a terrible person. Absolutely horrible stuff, guys. Indeed, it was a lovely story. Very lovely story from Larry and Paul there. Ah, oh, dear. I mean, it's just absolutely terrible, guys. It's terrible. He was the one that was offering his face for the Queen's funeral or something. Yeah, something like that, Rosemary. Something like that, indeed. Well, how many times have you heard the £22 billion black hole, guys? Have you heard that term so many times? Would you like to hear it 10,000 more times? No? Well, too bad, because Matt Green's going to talk about it here.
Rachel Reeves has said that there's a £22 billion black hole in the public finances that she didn't know about before becoming Chancellor.
I don't know why she didn't know about it. Plenty of people told her.
So your government knew about this black hole?
Yes, of course we did. We created it. And we were planning on cutting taxes on top of it.
Wouldn't that have been grossly irresponsible?
Well, Possibly, but only if we actually thought we'd ever have to do it. What? Well, we knew we weren't going to win the election, so we could just say what we liked. We could talk about bringing back national service, bang on about the Rwanda scheme, even, my suggestion, reintroduce hanging for anyone who doesn't clean up dog mess. Hanging? I guarantee that would have won us a few seats. Labour have said that you've left them with a country that's broken. We did offer to fix it too, but oh no, they knew best. You're admitting the public finances are in crisis. I am now, certainly. And we also put in a whole load of spending cuts for the future to see just how many we could get Labour to agree to. Well, they've said they'll match your spending plans and not reverse your cut to national insurance. Yes, which is hilarious because we put those plans in place knowing we'd never have to enact them, whereas Labour said they'd match them knowing that they would. So, who's really the irresponsible ones? Critics have called this a scorched earth policy. Well, I've always been partial to my steaks well done. Don't you think the public will blame you for all the mess you caused? For a while, sure, but the public have short memories and soon they'll be like, why isn't everything getting better? And Labour will say, well, it's all the fault of the Tories, which would be true. But that's when we'll be able to slide in and say, well, at least we didn't pretend that someone else was making us do the bad things. Except when you blamed Europe, immigrants and human rights, and pinned a global financial crisis on Gordon Brown. Yes, but that's just politics. Thank you, former minister. Oh, I meant to say, I've got a podcast. Next up, as Nigel Farage says that he doesn't support violence whilst predicting further disorder, we ask, when does dog whistling become incitement? And how long ago did that happen?
Oh, God. That one was a couple of months ago, but yeah. The £22 billion black hole, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. The next one I got for you guys is actually a new one. I actually haven't listened to it yet because I wanted to listen to this one together. To be fair, Mr. E, thank you so much for the £10 super chat. Good to see you here. Hope you're doing well. A tenner for the licky. Thank you so much, Mr. E. It's good to see you. I hope you had a good weekend, like the rest of you guys. Hope you all had a very good weekend. So we've got 2 more funny videos to see ourselves out. I've saved the best one for the last one. It's one of my personal favourites. But this one is a new one. I couldn't not add Nerdine Skinner comedy to it. She's been doing some cracking good ones here, and this one came out today from her. So Nadine Boris Christmas special and Nadine Doris parody. So for all those Nadine Doris fans, and I know there's some of you guys here, hope you enjoy this one.
Oh hi, it's me, Nadine Doris, and I'm here to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year with a big sloppy kiss from me. Mwah. I do that to Boris Johnson every single day. He absolutely loves it. He says no more, and I still do it anyway. Anyway, what I want to say is have the best time, be merry, drink as much as you can. I'm already doing that and it's 10 a.m. I don't really know what I'm saying, to be honest, at this stage. But what I do know is I want everyone to know that I'm actually doing really well. I'm really successful at the moment, even though both my books at the moment, nobody's buying them. And I'll tell you for why. It's because of the cabal, the secret society, the secret force that's out to get me, and all this left-wing propaganda that's spreading stuff about me, about Boris Johnson, all the people that have done good in the world, okay, spinning stuff to make it look bad. And I'm just giving you a warning this Christmas, my Christmas gift, if you will, that I'm imparting my knowledge. Watch your backs, people, because they're there, they're watching. The walls have eyes, yeah? Okay, so really be careful with yourself. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. I'm not a flat earther, although let's face facts, look at the evidence. I don't do conspiracies, I don't. Although I will tell you who actually tried to assassinate Donald Trump. Yeah, you won't believe this. Because who could possibly want to brutally and ineffectively puncture a hole in a person's ear like that? Claire's Accessories is here. Oh my goodness, it's obvious, isn't it? It's obvious. And I'll tell you another thing. Simon Cowell is not actually a human. He's a malfunctioning Yankee Candle. It won't be long before his wick is exposed. It won't be long before Boris is either. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I best be off, but watch your backs this Christmas, okay? Happy Christmas, Happy New Year. Drink 5 bottles of gin from me. All right, see you later. Watch your backs, people. Boris, I'm coming.
Oh, God, no. Too much information at the end there. Oh, God, I hate Nadine Doris. But Nadine Skinner's all right. She's off the wall. Yeah, she proper is. Oh, dear, it was too much. Oh, God. The whole her and Boris thing was just like the parodies between the Doris and Boris from her comment was just so. It's just too much. It was just too much, guys. It was just too much. So this one, I'm just going to tell you now, I will probably get copyright. Well, my live streams aren't monetized, but I'll get told that I won't be able to monetize the live stream unless I mute this. So if you're here live, you'll be able to hear this anyway. But I'll probably have to mute it or remove the segment from the live stream. But guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has come along tonight. Thank you guys all for your super chats. I want you all to have a wonderful Christmas. If you have friends and family, please spend the time with them. Enjoy it. It's not always about the gifts. It's about spending time with your loved ones, guys. It really is. You know, gifts are just an added bonus. You know, for me. You know, sometimes just as a simple Christmas card or just being there for someone makes the world of difference. But I wanted to end with this funny video for you guys. This one, it is one of my favorites. And although they weren't completely wiped out, I still think it is the end of the Tories, and we know it. So let's remind ourselves that they are no longer in power, and let us hope that they will never, ever come to power again. I know, it's a classic. It is a classic, Joe. Absolutely. And I can guarantee you that that will not be there for long, because I will get told by YouTube to do something about that, guys. But luckily they didn't shut down the live stream, because they have done that in the past for certain videos or whatever I've played. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that brilliant classic one there. I hope it is the end of the Tories and they never ever come back to power again. But we will have to wait and see, guys. So guys, I will be back on Friday with a live stream for you guys. So just a quick reference, there will be videos dropping, political videos dropping pretty much every day this week. I have recorded all the way up till Sunday, so you're getting at least 2 short videos every day from today all the way up to Sunday. You're getting 1 political video every day all the way up till Sunday. You still have, like I said, this Wednesday, Christmas Day, I've got 2 videos, actually. There's actually got 3 videos dropping on Christmas Day. So you have a special one dropping at 8 in the morning at 9 a.m. So I do recommend all you guys who are here on the live stream, when that video does drop, do check it out when it does. I believe it's 9 o'clock in the morning. If you get a chance to watch it, please do. And then there'll be a political video later on that day. And then at 8 p.m. on Christmas Day, I will try to pop in. The premiere live chat. But yeah, there'll be a special video of a bunch of good news and funny news stories I've put together for you guys on Christmas Day. So if you guys want to hang out together, you're more than welcome to do so. And then on Saturday and Sunday, there will be Speaking My Mind and good news videos dropping there. And then, like I said, Friday, I will try and host a live stream. I'm expected to be back Friday. If something changes, I'll drop a community post for you guys. But yeah, I will drop... I'll drop a community post at some point during the week if you for questions and answers, live stream. So if you guys leave your questions there, we'll do that as well. Will I drop in Dave's Christmas live? I will try to, Mr. E. Like I said, I'll try to, because I'm spending time on the day with a lot of family. So I will try to drop in. There's a lot going on, Christmas Day, obviously. But I will try and do so for sure, guys. No promises, but I will try and do so. But yeah, thank you guys all for coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you so much for those who gave super chats as well. Greatly appreciate it. Oh my God, the screen just went. That's very scary there. Yeah, internet's really starting to go. The internet's really starting to go on this side. I think it's YouTube playing up. Hopefully it doesn't crash too much. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all your comments. Thank you guys for all that stuff. Take care. And just before I go, I have one last thing to say. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media so others are notified of this live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So have a very Merry Christmas, everyone, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.